day of sharing and helping the citizens of our nation. I ask for guidance and good decision-making for all of us, and I ask that you bless us all in this room. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, Shelley.
Yes, sir. Joe Bird.
Honey.
David Walkenstick. Jack Baker.
Here.
Early Buzzard. Julia Coates. Jody Fisher-Hop. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Present. John Garvin. Reggie Hargis. Present. China Glory Jordan. Present. Lee Keener. Dick Clay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Denise Taylor. Here. David Thornton. Victoria Vasquez. Carrie Helen Watson. Honey. We do it for them.
This time we'll address the approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to be approved.
Second.
Motion and a second for the approval of the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Dropping down to reports, Marshal Service, Mr. Shannon Buell. Yes.
Would it be possible prior to starting reports if we take the three appointments up first?
Sure.
We have one, I believe, who's going to come in on the telephone. Is that right? Okay, and two that, I think the two are, I guess, part here.
Well, we have three appointed.
Three appointments.
It's the wishes of the committee. We will change the agenda items to address all the appointees so they can be on their way.
1, 2, and 3 under new business.
Is that in form of a motion?
Yes, second.
Second? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Change the appointments. After the reports or now?
Let's just go ahead and go
Okay.
ahead and then go back to the reports. That would be.
That'll be just-
Chairperson.
Okay, go right ahead.
You want me to take the first one? Or no, I can,
That's Dan Carter. Counselor Thornton, take that.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Dan Carter for the nomination of the board member of the Cherokee Nation Business LLC. I've known Mr. Carter a long time, for years. He's always been an excellent businessman. He's always taken care of kids. He's coached off baseball teams, and has several businesses around the country. He's helped the Cherokee Nation in more ways than a lot of us have. So I'm proud to be able to nominate for this position.
I'd like to second him and add me as a sponsor, please.
Any more sponsors? Squez, Walking Stick, Garvin, Fulbright, Fishing Hawk, Snail. Garvin. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, Mr. Dan Carter.
Chairman,
Is he
Mr. Carter's here.
here? Yes.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me to be able to serve the Cherokee Nation in any capacity. And, come and be in front of these councils and rules committees. And I'm not that familiar with it, but I plan on getting familiar with it. For some of you that don't know me all that well, I've been married 38 years to my wife Becky. I've got 2 kids, 5 grandchildren from 2 to 13, and I was raised in Sequoyah County. I live north of Tahlequah now, past Moody. I've been up there for about 8 years, and I'm looking forward to serving on this board. I hope I can contribute stuff. I'm gonna stay with it and work hard at it. So if you have any questions, I'd sure be glad to try to answer them for you.
Congratulations, Mr. Carter. Anybody? Counselor Watts?
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Carter, how are you doing?
Just fine.
I just had a few questions that I try to ask consistently for every board member or nominee. So what is it that you'd like to see from Cherokee Nation businesses that's different from today?
Than what they're doing at the moment.
Yes.
You know, I'm going into it with a pretty open mind. My goal for this board would be to see that Cherokee Nation and C&B is better when my tenure's over. So I'll be pretty open-minded. I want to look at a lot of different stuff. I don't know exactly what all they do now. There will be a curve there for me to learn what they are doing. But I'm interested in new stuff. I'm just gonna have to see what's there.
Very good. Just one more question. And what, from your background, I had reviewed your resume, but in particular, what's something from your background that you really feel like you're bringing to the table for the board?
Just business experience and problem solving, and I think the time that I spent on the excise board at Sequoia County, I learned a lot right there, because the excise board does all of the school budgets and even the courthouse budget. We don't get to say where the money goes. We just make sure that the money's there and it stays in the budget. So I think that right there will help me in this thing.
Congratulations on your nomination, and I look forward to seeing how you, the great things you'll do in your service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Next is a resolution.
Do we have a vote?
I thought we did.
I have one question.
Yes, Counselor
I have a
Gardner.
question also, please.
Okay.
I asked Dan how much the job paid, and he didn't know, so could somebody else fill me in on that? Maybe Chuck could tell us.
25.
Don't want to misspeak, so Counselor, if I could get a follow-up to the council after the committee, would that be
That'll
sufficient?
be fine.
I think it's 25. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Counselor Coates?
Thank you very much. My question was for Mr. Carter. I didn't hear a vote either, so I presumed it was still open for questioning. Am I correct?
There was a vote.
We took a vote, and
I didn't hear anything about questions before the vote was taken, so I'm sorry. It's hard to hear this way.
that's
You
okay.
weren't the only one. Shirley, wasn't there a vote?
Counselor Coates, do you still have a question?
Yeah, if it's okay to go ahead. I mean, I guess it's irrelevant at this point, but I did have questions about, on the, Mr. Carter's resume, and I'm sorry I'm not there to meet you, Mr. Carter, and, because that, you know, was often a privilege, I think, to be able to meet the people who serve on our boards and commissions. But on the resume, I had a question about Koswowski Incorporated Retail Tobacco, owner and CEO from 1996 to the present. Is this one of our, are you one of our smoke shop owners? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That was my question.
Thank you, and if you need anything else, just give me a call.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next item. Speaker, would you take that?
Yes, this is a resolution confirming the reappointment of Tanya Roselle as a board member of the Cherokee Nation Foundation. And I believe Ms. Roselle is here today, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, second by Counselor Thornton.
And I'd like to be added as a sponsor.
Okay. You want to be added as a sponsor, would you please raise your hand? There you go. Okay, would you do that one more time, counselors? Okay. Questions? Counselor Watt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. So how has your experience been on the foundation board?
I've learned so much, and I feel like we are in another transition where we're trying to refine, our mission and get on track with new leadership, and that's always kind of bumpy for a while, but I feel like we're getting there.
Okay. How is fundraising going?
Got some fresh ideas, so I think that's promising. I don't know how it's been I don't know that we've been that successful in the past, but we've definitely, our new executive director is bringing some fresh ideas to the table that we're excited about, and hopefully that will kick in.
Excellent. Yeah. And so what is the new direction that's going? Do we have that defined
Well, we've
yet,
kind
or?
of just, when I first came on the board 3 years ago, or 2.5, it seemed like it was on language revitalization, and it seems now we're narrowing our focus to helping the Cherokee citizens get bachelor's degrees, and in taking them young and prepping them for that with junior achievement and the ACT prep and the CCPI, getting the college prep stuff, things that they need to have in order to pursue the degrees, and then seeing them through that, and then hopefully them coming back into the workforce for the Cherokee Nation. So I feel like our focus has kind of narrowed, and I feel like we are on a good track to partner with the Cherokee Nation, not to duplicate services, but to work, together with them and providing maybe a wider range.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your service and your willingness to come back. I don't know if anybody else has questions, but thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Tanya. Congratulations. Next item will be nomination of Jackie Archambault. Speaker, you want to take that as well?
Yes, this is a resolution confirming the nomination of Jackie Archambault as a board member of Cherokee Nation Community Association Corporation. She is on the telephone, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
I will second it.
Motion and a second. Questions? Councilor Baker?
Yes, I've worked with Jackie for many years in the Northern California area, and she's very capable and will do very well on this board. But I do need to offer a friendly amendment in the be it resolved portion by the Cherokee Nation that she should be confirmed as a board member of the Cherokee Nation Foundation. It should be Cherokee Nation Community Association.
Okay.
Under be it resolved. It's not the Cherokee Nation Foundation, it's the Cherokee Nation Community Association.
Okay. Motion friendly's been added.
Thank you.
Got that noted, Shelley? Okay. All in favor? Say aye. All
Mr.
opposed?
Chair,
Yes.
I would like to be added as a sponsor, please. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Who wants to be added as a sponsor? Looks as if most everybody. Okay, congratulations, Jackie.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anything you want to say?
I'd like to thank you all for your time and also for this nomination. I really look forward to serving our nation. I just find really great joy with that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations. Okay. We'll go back to our reports now. Marshall Shannon Buell.
Good afternoon. First, let me apologize for not being here last month. I was in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoma Attorney General's office. We've been asked to be on a task force for human trafficking in the state of Oklahoma to investigate and hopefully quell that growing problem that's happening in our state. So I do apologize for not being here last month. If there is any questions you have of me for last month, you can feel free to ask, or this month.
Questions for Marshall Buell? We might mention something that the Marshal Department, really, they go above and beyond what we might see in our reports. And we talked about this earlier. What he wants to do, is this something we're going to try next month?
It'll be in May.
Okay, in May, he wants to do a little display and do a little reception over there at his place. And that's before the rules. I said, if you do this about 12 o'clock, and if there's any way you could serve these council
Yes,
members
we will.
just a little bit of a meal, I said, we might get some
It'll be
attendance
food
there.
cooked by cops, but
So,
yes.
But we're looking at May, and I asked him to coordinate this with Gail Miller. So we look forward to visiting and learning more about your department.
We'll have all of our specialized teams there that you can actually talk with them, and we'll have the dive team there, the special operations team. We'll have the equipment that we use there, and it'll be more, come over, see kind of what we do, other than catching speeders on the side of the street. So I'd like to offer that to everyone here.
Okay, Councilor Garvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We don't need to wear a vest or anything, do we?
No, but maybe some Alka-Seltzer or some Tums or something like that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilor Thornton.
I'm bringing my whip.
I would, yes. Also, I forgot, we have 2 people through the hiring process. One starts Monday, and then the other one is supposed to start in the next couple of weeks.
Councilor Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are they both Cherokee Nation citizens?
Yes, they are, and they're both fully certified.
Let's just go ahead and nix that
Yeah.
right there.
They're both fully certified police officers. One is dual certified as a federal police officer through the BIA and a CLEAT one. Both are Cherokee citizens. We actually have 3 positions open. The third is still in background check. The third one is also a Cherokee citizen. He's in a task force position right now with the DA's task force. He actually lives south of Salisaw. The one that starts Monday lives this side of Bixby, but not in our area. But he is actively, him and his wife are actively trying to move into our area. And then the third one lives just north of Stillwell, I believe. All 3 are certified. They'll come. It is a process. They'll have about a month, like this one that starts Monday. Have about a month in the office, study the tribal laws, our policies. Policy is about 565 pages long, so it takes a long time to go through it. And then he'll start into his 4-month FTO process. So that process lasts 4.5 months, and he'll be evaluated throughout the process.
And one last question. There's been questions in the community about the cost of our free off-road
Yes.
vehicle, whatever. So at some point, will you have actual costs to us for that military surplus vehicle?
The cost, like continuing costs, maintenance costs, or?
Operations costs is
Operations
what
costs.
people are asking about.
Okay, I will get that to you. Gets about 8 miles a gallon, so you can imagine that.
I'm shocked it gets that much.
Yeah,
so.
that's what they tell us. Don't know
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Walkenstick.
That vehicle, how much that thing cost? I mean, as far as not cost, but what's it estimated to be price wise?
Around $450,000.
And how much we get it for?
Well, we had to pay for the fuel to go out to South Carolina to pick it up and bring it back, and the per diem cost. So I can get that to you. I don't know what that was, but.
So it's worth $450,000, and we got just for some fuel.
Yeah, but I cannot say it's worth $450 because we couldn't just try and sell it. We can't just sell it. And that goes against the DRMO plan. This program, a lot of people think it's a new program out there. It's actually been going on since the 50s. Adair County has one of these. It's an older version called a Patriot or something like that they've had since I've been a marshal. They've had it there. So this is a continuing program that has been going on forever. So after 5 years, I believe it becomes ours. So we have to keep the maintenance on it. We've got a PO over at a local semi place, because it's a semi as far as engine goes. It takes a Class B driver's license. So we have several marshals that have a Class B commercial driver's license to actually drive it. So there's a lot of things that the way it's sitting over there, if you notice, there was a turret on top. Kind of mean. The turret's off of it now. That was kind of a fun undertaking to take that thing off. So we've got the turret off of it, and then we'll be also retrofitting it with rescue cages and stuff like that. If you can kind of think of a Coast Guard rescue helicopter, how they pull the basket up into the helicopter, we're trying to find a device that will do that for the back of that vehicle. We've looked at the ramps, but we trying to push a heavy person up with a wheelchair up a ramp might not work, so we're looking at a crane just like the helicopters have. So.
Thank you for that report, Marshal. Next, Office of the Attorney General, Mr. Todd Hembry.
Thank you, Mr. Chamber. I was going to suggest that Marshal Buell volunteer for a taser demonstration. I'm sure that would get. I was going to ask that you volunteer for a taser demonstration.
Yeah.
It is always a pleasure to present to the Rules Committee. The Office of the Attorney General is quite busy. I will go over with you the highlights of our activities. First is the Friedman case. Tomorrow is our response brief that is due to our reply brief that is in response to a response brief. We still have the April 28th date for oral argument in that case before Judge Hogan's in Washington, D.C. As to our other major item is our ongoing litigation with the United Kituah Band. Yes. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Are you through?
No, there was a question.
Oh, okay. Councilor Watkins Stick was first. I was going to let him give his report before we did the questions.
I will hurriedly go through it then. Our other, an equally important item that we work, or that is on the front burner, is our ongoing litigation with the United Kituah Band on the 2.03 acres, which is we call the casino property, in the 76 acre tract. Also tomorrow we are filing an objection to the UKB intervention in the 76 acre tract, and we are also, since the last time I reported, we were able to obtain a temporary restraining order preventing the 76 acre land from going into trust until the pendency of this lawsuit. And these are two separate lawsuits. They will not be joined. The 2 acre tract will be heard on May 9th. And there has not been a briefing schedule set for the 76 acre tract, but as soon as that is set by the court, we will obviously let this council know. As always, as the briefs are filed, they can be obtained from the Attorney General's website, and I will make sure that above and beyond that, that Gail has it and can disseminate to the trial council members. Three other items of great interest. Yesterday, myself and representatives of the office and members of the Choctaw Nation and the Chickasaw Nation had a meeting with Steve Mullins, who's the General Counsel for Governor Fallon, and we discussed 2 major topics that are quickly on the horizon. One is the ABLE Commission proposed rule that they are looking into. This rule that they are proposing would require a limited waiver of sovereign immunity to any tribal casino that were to apply for a liquor license. There are many policy reasons for it not to take place, and there are other major legal reasons why we think that cannot take place. But be that as it may, we did discover that this is an issue that Governor Fallon is promoting, which came to us. So we are engaged in consultations with the governor's office. It was a very impressive sight to see the Choctaws, the Chickasaws, and the Cherokees all at one table with a united voice on this matter, and I do believe that we got the governor's attention in this matter. And whether it is through policy negotiation or through legal challenge, I do not believe that the Able Commission will be able to go forward with this rule, but we will engage them. The other issue on the horizon is the dispute between the city of Shawnee and the Sisseton Potawatomi tribe. The city of Shawnee has given notice that that they intend to, by agreement or by legal means, start collecting sales tax on businesses owned by the Sisseton Potawatomi tribe within the city limits of Shawnee. We believe that many of these issues have already been litigated before the Oklahoma and United States Supreme Court. But be that as it may, we did learn that, again, the governor's office or the attorney general's office is contemplating weighing in on the side of the city of Shawnee. Obviously, this is an issue that is of great importance to all Indian tribes in Oklahoma. And we, again, the Choctaws, the Chickasaws, and the Cherokees expressed our thoughts on this matter and continue to stand ready to engage the city of Shawnee or the state of Oklahoma. Lastly, well, let me say this. These two items that I just talked about, the Able Commission issue and the city of Shawnee issue, can take vastly different paths depending on the Bay Mills decision from the United States Supreme Court. As I've reported in the past, we did do an amicus brief in the Bay Mills case. That decision, we understand, could come in early April. My office is working on contingency paths depending on the severity. I think there will be a restriction of some sort, but depending on the tenor and the wording of the United States Supreme Court decision, this tribe needs to be ready to act and act quickly to protect our sovereign immunity and our business rights, and we are preparing for various outcomes in that regard. The last thing I would want to report is on codification. We are going back and forth between West. We have all the titles into West. We are answering those questions. We have picked out a color for the books. It's going to be a 5-volume set. I have asked the Principal Chief's Office, the Supreme Court, and I am asking the Tribal Council to prepare a forward. I want each branch of the government to put have a statement of how important codes such as this is or are. But we're on the final touches of it, and we hope to have this printed by late March or early April. And with that, I conclude my report and would entertain any questions that the council may have.
Councilor Walkenstick.
Hey, Todd, Saturday morning, I woke up early, I was going fishing, and I got an email saying I was getting sued.
Congratulations.
Well, I've never been sued before. Is there something that I need to be worried about? Or?
There have been 2 new lawsuits. One is a lawsuit filed, and I can't remember the plaintiff's name, that
I'd like for us to talk about those lawsuits offline.
sure, okay. I'll just state that there have been 2 new lawsuits filed that involve the certain members of the tribal council, and it would be a majority, and the Cherokee Nation Election Commission. Entertain any of those issues.
Welcome to the Cherokee Nation, Councilor.
Is that the first time you've been sued, and how long you been in here?
I thought it was for fishing, but
If you
Go
get,
ahead.
yeah, let me state this. I apologize. Speaking of fishing, part of the at the end of our meeting involving Abel and the city of Shawnee, after the Choctaws and the Chickasaws left, we did have a second meeting involving the beginning of negotiations on a hunting and fishing agreement between the state of Oklahoma and the Cherokee Nation. And we have set up a series of meetings to exchange information and data to get that ball rolling and rolling quickly.
Is there anything about frivolous lawsuits in our Constitution?
I'd be happy to talk with you offline.
Thank you, Chair.
Councilor Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, make sure first I heard this clearly. Late March, early April 2014 codification books will be available? Is that what?
And again, all of these are estimates and rolling targets. It just depends on how quickly, West gets their questions to us, and we're quick on getting our answers back.
That's what we're aiming for right now. Is
Right.
If things keep moving as they have, it'll be late March, early April.
Yes, all the information. We have gone through each title, and meticulously, my staff has integrated the new acts all the way through, and it is with. It is with West, and as they come up with a question, they have their people going through. Any clarifications, they call us, and we get to them. And they are the ones that said that they should be ready by the end of April or end of March.
I know that I've submitted a number of FOIA requests, but one particular is quite old at this point, the Caleb Free actuals. Do you expect that to be soon?
Okay, yes, I apologize. I thought I had gotten that to you. I will, when I leave
At
this.
this point, I've asked for an update because it's been.
Sure, I get it.
And then I saw your editorial recently. I'm sorry, I can't hear. I'm having trouble. Is there?
Having trouble with what?
I hear other people talking, not the meeting. So thank you. So on the UKB, I heard there was I've read your recent editorial comments on it. So I'm trying to understand why your office moved forward with the UKB editorial at this time in context of maybe some of the rumors I'm hearing about our freedom issues. So I'm mixing apples and oranges there. So.
Well, first, let's,
Yeah.
I don't know, let's discuss Friedman rumors that you've heard.
I've heard that if we lose in the federal court where we're at, that we will not proceed to the Supreme Court in defense of our Constitution and the Cherokee Nation Supreme Court. That's the rumor.
Okay.
So, 2 questions, I guess, are, could you explain where we're at in the process and how it moves forward from here, win, lose, or draw? And then also, how your plans for defending the Constitution.
Do we need to discuss all of that here?
Well, I'd be happy to discuss.
My constituents are asking for an update, and I could not explain to them well enough, and I'd like an update from the AG.
Yeah, I want you to have an update.
I am more than willing to talk about any of these issues.
Before he responds, you're asking for something that might happen if something else doesn't happen. Why don't we wait till we see what the results is so he can make a decision? Did you get that rumor out of his head, or where'd you get that?
Well,
It came from the tribal complex, so I was really curious.
Well,
how about this? If the Constitution says this, and our tribal Supreme Court said one thing, and it's after reading your UKB editorial, if your office chose not to proceed, What would the recourse?
We're not there yet, Counselor Watts. I mean, you're anticipating something on a rumor you heard at the complex.
And with the indulgence of the chair, please let me just respond.
Yeah.
Because my response would be very similar to what Councilor Jordan just says. First of all, I intend on winning that case. Secondly, I cannot tell you what path that we will or will not do, depending on how the order is, who it affects. When that happens, hopefully I won't appeal it because we'll win it. Okay? And secondly, it just depends. If we do get an adverse ruling, it really just depends on, like I said, who's affected, what's it said. So I can't answer that question until I know what that decision is.
And we're budgeted at this time to continue the legal issue, defending the Cherokee Nation legal issue in the context of the
As long as you give,
citizenship
yeah,
lawsuit.
you give me the money, I'm defending it.
Well, at least this fiscal year, let's put it that way, you're still.
I am going to be asking for some carryover, by the way, because of the plethora of lawsuits and how particularly the Freedmen and the UKB are coming to a head at the same time.
And the May 9th hearing for the United Katua Band is in Tulsa.
That is correct. I would highly encourage everyone to attend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Do you have
it.
any questions about the editorial?
No? It was interesting. Thank you.
You guys can discuss that.
Be happy to. Any further questions?
Okay. Speaker.
Mine was a real easy one. What color did we finally light on for the book?
Okay, and this is controversial, okay, believe it or not.
It probably will be.
Yeah, so we picked orange.
This is the good.
It is the color of our flag. Now, I know there's some people who say our flags are not, but it is the color of our flag, and it is unique to all of Indian country. There's not an orange, because as far as my research could tell, there's plenty of blues, there's plenty of greens, there's even a turquoise here and there, but there's no orange. It is the color of our flag.
Good. Sounds good. We good?
And just
it burnt orange?
information.
Whatever is our flag.
Information for the council, the foreword that he's talking about, I have been working on that, and we'll have that prepared and send that on.
Good. Counselor Coates?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Hembry, I was interested in the negotiations that you mentioned about hunting and fishing rights. And it's my understanding that the law that we are asserting in that instance, in the treaties that we are asserting, are related to the issues that the Choctaws and Chickasaws are currently engaged in with the state over water rights. Is that correct?
Yes, to a certain extent, but this is one thing that I am making clear, that we are negotiating a hunting and fishing compact or agreement, not a water rights treaty. Okay, for better or worse, the direction of our litigation or future litigation that may or may not occur on water rights will be dictated to a certain extent by what comes out of the Choctaw and the Chickasaw water suit, and amongst many other things. If we are to try to tie in water rights into a hunting and fishing compact, well, we'll never get it complete, not with pending litigation going on. But I will state this, is that our hunting and fishing rights are treaty rights. They are as recent as our last treaty with the United States, which reaffirmed every other treaty with the United States. That's the Treaty of 1866 that gave our citizens these hunting and fishing rights that we do intend on exercising. Every time that we can promote a treaty right in any instance, that only buttressed are arguments for any rights under the rest of that treaty. So although both sides are cognizant of the water rights issue, the negotiations in this matter are concentrating solely on hunting and fishing.
Would you foresee any ramifications for us if they were to either win or lose their cases, and vice versa? Would you see any ramifications for their cases if we were to win or lose? I would say lose, but not be successful in our negotiations. In other words, how would you think the two things might impact each other in terms of their court case and our negotiations with the state?
Well, the answer.
And are we in conversation with each other about the two strategies?
Well, the answer to your question is yes. There will be ramifications on both pro and con, depending on how that research, how that results. To be, and I'm always frank before the tribal council, but to be perfectly frank, the Choctaws and Chickasaws are not very open as to their negotiations as to water rights in between the state of Oklahoma, and understandably so. Although we've always had an open door policy to engage them, they've played their cards pretty close to the vest, and I don't begrudge them of that. But years ago, we decided not to assert our water rights in the litigations with the Choctaws and Chickasaws, nor did we attempt to assert them until the very last moment of the Tyson lawsuit, in which the Judge Rizal then basically ruled that we're just too late to the game. So 4 or 5 years ago, we made that strategic decision. We are awaiting the results of what comes down the pike. And like I told Councilor Calvin Watts earlier, really just, I can't answer that hypothetical in a vacuum. I'm going to have to see how the decisions are worded. What rights are affected, what parties are affected before we go forward. But what's also very important is that however the ramifications come down in the Choctaw-Chickasaw suit, we still have our own independent cause of action. And at some point, if it becomes if it is an initiative of the council and they're willing to back the resources that it would take, obviously the Attorney General's office stands ready to defend and promote our water rights whenever we have the opportunity to do so.
So I guess what I was trying to get at, and I think you answered it, was that we're not really coordinating the two efforts, and I think that with each other. You're saying the Choctaws and Chickasaws are playing this close to the vest, and that's understandable in a legal case. But I was just wondering if that, to any degree, because that there was any kind of coordination or communication with the other about this, because as you say, what happens in theirs is going to impact our effort and vice versa. And you say we have independent action, but there are precedents that could possibly be set that would have impacts on that action. So I think you more or less responded to what I was trying to get at. But those are just my concerns, I guess.
And I appreciate the concerns, and it's a very good question. What I will also say is that the events of yesterday, I think, were very eye-opening for everybody. I think that far too rarely do the Choctaws and the Chickasaws and the Cherokees work coordinated on projects, and And I think that yesterday, showing what an opposing force that we do represent, and the ability now to have those relationships between those tribes are, I think everyone saw the benefits from it. So I hope to work much more closely with our brothers and sisters in the Chickasaw and Choctaw nations, and as well as those in the Creeks and Seminoles. I mean, to really revitalize the Intertribal Council and the 5 tribes to the driving force that has been in the past.
That's all for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Humphrey.
Councilor Garvin?
Todd, was there some reason the creeks were not there and the other?
No reason. I mean, and it was not an intentional slight. This meeting came together real quick, so I want them at the table whenever possible. We just weren't able to coordinate it.
Which tribe called the meeting?
Me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome. Councilor Thornton?
Yes, Todd, on the hunting and fishing, did you say that you're negotiating some kind of compact?
I don't know if compact's the right word. Agreement, a compact agreement, memorandum. We're at the very infancy of this, but the idea is to exercise for our citizens the hunting and fishing rights that they have throughout our jurisdiction.
In any agreement or compact, whatever what you put it to, will have to come before this council?
Yeah, yes, it will. Absolutely.
Water rights, does the Chickasaw and Choctaw have the same exact treaties that we do?
No, they don't.
And anything that's decided eventually will end up in federal court. Is that not right? That's the way I read it.
It very well could. I can't make blanket statements like that, but it very well could.
That's the way I see it. But something about, all of our people here get on the podiums, always brought up something about apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Those books being orange, I can understand.
That's a good
Thank you,
point. I
sir.
hadn't thought about that. We only deal with oranges now.
Yeah.
Councilor Keener, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. What was the governor's reaction? Well, he said that she was took notice that all 3 nations were there. And did she have an action item, or what was the outcome of the meeting as you left?
Well, Governor Fallon wasn't there. It was a meeting with her general counsel, Steve Mullins. Okay. Yeah. The Mr. Mullins will meet tomorrow with members of the Able Commission to address some of our, to I guess relay our concerns about what authority they have and the policy issues around it. He will, and also part of this is the speed by which it goes by. If you go through the normal process, making a rule at this, they're too late to make a rule for this change, for this session. That's if you go through the normal process. However, Mr. Mullins did convey that the governor considers this session issue. So there are possibilities of emergency sessions of the Able Commission, et cetera. What we want is for the governor's office to, first of all, try to justify why there's an emergency, and there's really not. This is a perceived problem. It's not an actual problem. And to educate the governor's office that whatever remedies that they have, that they would want, already exist. For instance, the idea of the Able Commission, what they want to do is make sure that bad actors who overserve are punished either through lawsuit or regulatory action. First of all, I think they would be hard pressed to find any lawsuit where there was a litigant that did not have a person to sue in a dram shop action. They just didn't get to sue everybody they wanted to. And secondly, if you're talking about bad actors, well, the state of Oklahoma has the ability today to withdraw, to revoke the license of someone who overserves. So that avenue's already. If one of our entities is a bad actor, well, maybe they should lose their license. But that remedy's available to them to begin with. What we see this as is just the want to use a meat cleaver when you might just need to use a scalpel or nothing at all. We believe that it's far too big of a policy issue to try to rush in the next 4 weeks. I think this needs to be a very deliberative process by which all the tribes have a comment period. One, see if there is a problem, and if a problem is identified, what are the best remedies to have at it, and just instead of just saying blanketly, all tribes have to waive sovereign immunity to get a liquor license. That is a poor policy approach, in my opinion, and hopefully we got our point across to the governor in that regard.
The nations will reconvene at some point?
When after that meeting with Mr. Mullins has with the Able Commission, he has committed that he will inform me of the results of that meeting, and then I will contact the parties of that meetings and possibly more to get back at it.
Yes, and Attorney General, we have some history of working, those 3 tribes working together, as we did in Arkansas riverbed litigation. So we do have some history working together.
One good thing about history that it's apt to repeat itself.
That's correct. Thank you for that fine report.
Thank you.
Next, we have Election Commission. Anybody here from the Election Commission? If not, we'll drop down to...
Chairman, I'm concerned because there was no report in there as well, so is there anything you can do about that as a chair?
Is there anything I can do about it? I will see. Mr. Secretary, would you make sure we have a report in our booklet?
Because they haven't been here in some time either, so that's...
Would you get with a representative from the Election Commission?
Visiting with the Attorney General.
Yes.
There's been recent change in the statute, so we will need to see what obligation.
Yes. Would you please do that? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Tax Commission, Sharon Swepson.
I think you all have my report. I will try to entertain any questions that you have on that report. Also wanted to update you a little bit. I know most of you have probably heard that the nation has purchased some new property. It's called the Oak Hill property. It's about 2.5, 3 miles just up 62 towards Tahlequah. And the plan is to locate the Tahlequah tag office itself into that building after some renovations. So I think it'll give us a little more room and a bigger lobby for our customers and hopefully some more parking.
Is that your report?
Yes.
Councilor Baker?
We do not have your report in our
You
book.
don't? I will get copies of it. I sent it, but I apologize. I will get you copies.
Thank you.
Councilor Watts, do you have your hand up?
Well, I just realized probably not the appropriate, I didn't know anything about the Oak Hill property purchase, so, but that wouldn't have been your office that actually purchased it.
No, my understanding was, though, it was reported in the realty's report. Okay. I apologize.
Okay. Councilor Garvin?
What was the selling price of the property?
Now, I have no idea on that. That was something that was handled by Realty. I only know about from my end for the tax commission side, so.
You know, 'cause placed or not?
I'm sure it was, but I really don't know the answer to those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So the tag,
The tag office and some of the support services. Not everybody will be moving up there. It's not a big enough building for that, but the actual tag processing, hopefully give us a better area for travel trailers and
they were
boats and.
really cramped in that old tag
Yeah,
office.
so,
I mean,
and
that's
a
gonna be
nicer
relief.
lobby, because our lobby over there, as you very
We
well
didn't
know,
have a
most of
lobby
you've been
there,
in
right?
there, right, doesn't seat very many people, so hopefully we can accommodate that and make it a little bit better facility for our citizens.
Good. Good news. Yes. Well, thank you, Sharon.
Okay, since you didn't get my report, I will tell you that in January, there were 743 tags and registrations issued in the extended jurisdictional counties, in those extended boundaries. So just as an update on that, and I will get you copies of that report, and I apologize.
We'll let you go this time.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Self-governance?
Hi, it's an honor to be here before you again today. Vicki wanted to send her regards, her apologies for not being here today. She's one of 12 national representatives on the Department of Interior Contract Support Costs Work Group, so she's on assignment today. A few things that she wanted me to highlight was that our Department of Interior multi-year funding agreement was executed.
Before you continue, is that report in everybody's book? Okay, we're good there. Go ahead.
So the funding agreement has been executed, and the nation has received its initial payment in excess of $4 million under that funding agreement. Also, the Contract Disputes Act litigation for underpayment of contract support costs is kind of in a holding pattern at this point. There hasn't been a lot of movement on our part. There were a couple of tribes ahead of the nation in the queue of mediation. They're under a gag order, so they can't really share too much information, but in their opinion, things have been progressing in a positive manner. Also, there's some significant changes to the contract support cost funding in the fiscal year 2014 appropriations legislation. There's a little bit further explanation in Vicki's report on that. And finally, the Self-Governance Office is looking into the 2013 Department of Interior Labor Force Report. That report was just recently released by the Department of Interior, and it's used for funding formulas, and they changed in a major way the way they calculate the labor force. So we're coordinating with other departments within the nation to see how that will affect our funding in the future. If you've got any questions, I'll take those and have Vicki follow up with you.
Councilor Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, thank you for the very detailed report, by the way, that you provided, and all the work that you and Vicki and the rest of the team are doing. But just to be clear, President Obama is only advocating for current cost and not really past cost to be paid. Is that what I understood?
Moving forward, advocating for full funding of contract support costs.
Okay.
However, the past, that's in the past, that's what's in court right now.
Okay, and then even in the forward funding, it may cause us to have to make choices to cut other programs because it's not really additional funding to cover that. It would be out of existing funding. Is that the way I read that correctly?
Yes, and what they've tried to do is really cut back. The federal side they've really tried to cut back in those areas that they use for the federal administrative costs. So they're trying to hold harmless the funding that comes to tribes to protect services. So it may.
Okay, so it could, and it appears to be headed towards, we're going to actually affect services potentially.
It could happen. You know, we don't have the information to really.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Taylor?
I'm actually just going to email my questions and get an email response because it's pretty detailed. So,
Good report. Thank you. Mr. Jamie Hummingbird, Gaming Commission?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope my report made it into your packets.
We have it.
Okay. Just to briefly update the committee on a few things, we're still keeping our eyes and ears out on what's happening with the Bay Mills case that is still pending between the Supreme Court, before the Supreme Court. We expect an April decision, but we're going to keep our eyes and ears open just in case they decide to hand the decision down a little bit early. And in case you haven't heard, there was another case that was of equal concern, I would say, that occurred out of California called, from a rancheria called Big Lagoon. Big Lagoon was essentially a decision handed down by the district court there that said that a parcel of land that the rancheria wanted to game on was not eligible for gaming because it came on, excuse me, it was taken into trust after 1934. So another issue that has been affected by that Carcieri decision. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on what Big Lagoon means for tribal gaming as well. Just in the past couple of days, there's been announcements that the states of Nevada and Delaware have entered into an intrastate agreement for internet gaming. These are the first two of the first 3 states that have authorized intrastate internet gaming, and this is the first such intrastate agreement between those gaming states. New Jersey, I think, is in the midst of tweaking its internet gaming legislation as we speak, and may be expected to join Nevada and Delaware with respect to their intrastate agreement. We'll wait and see how that plays out, and I'm still trying to find out the terms of their agreement and see if there's any information we can glean from it. But as of right now, they are proceeding down the road to connect both of their jurisdictions and broaden their iGaming base. I believe at the last meeting I handed out information for the National Tribal Gaming Commissioners and Regulators Conference. It's going to be held at our Hard Rock facility here in the next couple of weeks. If you guys have the ability to attend any or all days, you're more than welcome. We encourage everybody to show up. And on March 28th, just to have it on your calendars, if you have time on March 28th, is our next quarterly all-staff meeting of the Gaming Commission. And we invite all of the council members to attend and come meet the Gaming Commission staff and participate and just join in on the fun that we have all the time. And if it would be, with the indulgence of the chair and the committee, if I could, I would like to recognize the staff that I have here with me today. If I could have my staff come up here with me. Kelly, Dewana, Doug, Tracy. Take advantage of an opportunity to showcase my staff in here. I want to introduce Dewana Fry. Dewana is one of my supervisors. She is covering the Roland and the Salisaw area. Tracy Asher is my audit manager. Tracy's been with the Gaming Commission for a little over 14 years. We won't go into that. But I wanted to take special note of Kelly Myers. Kelly has been with the Gaming Commission for 7 years, a little over 7 years. And the last 3 or 4, she's been my licensing manager. And Kelly has just been recently elected to serve as chairwoman of the Oklahoma Tribal Gaming Regulators Association. So I wanted to say congratulations to Kelly. She does a great job for the nation, and I know she's going to do great as chair of OTGRA. And last but not least, I have Doug Hatfield. Doug has been with the commission for just a little over 5 years. And Doug is my compliance manager, at least for the next 2 weeks. After that, he is going to be off to Washington, D.C. He has been selected as the Director of Compliance for the National Indian Gaming Commission. So Doug will be representing Cherokee Nation up in D.C. So I wanted to recognize Doug and tell both Doug and Kelly congratulations on their selections. And just want to let the committee know that we have a talented group of people, not only the ones that you see before you, but all the ones that are on the floor looking after the day-to-day business. We have a great group of people, and it's my privilege to have them as my teammates as we go forward and work with the various gaming facilities and the people within it. So with that, if you have any questions, or is it okay if I allow them to say a few words?
As long as it's not too long.
I would just like to say that I'm very honored to serve for the Cherokee Nation. I'm a lifelong resident here of Tahlequah. For those that have not known me or probably know my parents here, I've graduated from high school from here. I know many of you, or if not your other family members. So to be working for Cherokee Nation and represent Cherokee Nation as chairman for the Oklahoma Tribal Gaming Regulators, there's 31 tribes that are members of that. It's an honor and I appreciate it.
Any speaker?
Kelly, when did you graduate?
I graduated in 98.
Next.
I just want to say I'm very honored to accept this position in Washington, D.C., and I'm also forever indebted to the Cherokee Nation to provide me the opportunity to work and also to work under a great organization like our Gaming Commission. Tribal regulators are a very important necessity in relation to tribal sovereignty. So I just wanted to say thank you, and my hope is to survive and come back and serve in some capacity. What it may be, I don't know what it'll look like, but that's my hope. And Councilman Garvin was my 7th grade algebra teacher, so I don't know if he remembers that or not, but thank you.
He might have his name etched on your paddle somewhere. But thank you, Mr. Chair, and the committee for.
Counselor?
I just want to ask you that meeting on the 28th, is that an all-day or when is it?
Yeah, it's all day. It's going to be, we start at 9, and we usually go until about 3 or 4, and it's going to be at the Tahlequah Armory.
And would you please get with Gail on the one at Hard Rock?
Yes.
Would you coordinate that?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
And if any of you are golfers, I know at least one of you are. I'm not pointing out anybody in particular, but we do have a golf tournament for the conference on the 17th on St. Patrick's Day. So if you are interested in playing, the funds and the proceeds of the golf tournament go to the NTGCR Scholarship Fund. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good report.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Wishes of the. You want to have them?
I would move to amend the agenda to allow a report from human resource.
Okay, motion's been made, second to move, to allow Human Resources to give the report, and they are here. Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, HR?
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Morton. I'm the Interim Executive Director of HR, and I have with me today Brenda Lance, the Manager of Compensation and Employment, and Alana Castile, the Director at HR. I didn't know what to prepare today, so first thing we did is kind of got an overview of how many employees we have, and on regular employees, as of January 2014, I have approximately 3,368, and this is my math on the percentages, and if I was good at math, I would not be a lawyer. So I have an account at about 89%. A couple of things we've been working on is
Yeah, point of
that would
information.
be with Cherokee and all other tribes, 89.46%. Cherokee, by my count, it's 81.91%. And I'm sorry about that, I got ahead of myself.
Yes, Councilor Watts?
So, when you say Cherokee, is that Cherokee Nation Citizens, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indian, and United Kituah Band, or is it Cherokee Nation Citizens?
Right now, on this statistic, I'm doing Cherokee Nation citizens when I'm listing Cherokee and all others as,
So just to make sure I
Indian tribe.
heard you correctly,
Yes.
it's 81.9%
Cherokee,
Cherokee Nation.
which would be 2,759, and
89% is all Indian, all federally recognized tribal citizens.
yes. And I'm going to go ahead and call this my preliminary, and I'm going to play with it because I did not think about doing this till about this morning, so I want to make sure I got that right.
Thank you.
And that's as of January. I don't know what the statistic as of this date. One of the things we're working on is updating the policy to implement the changes in TARO. And so we have been circulating, and in conjunction with the Attorney General's office, we've been circulating a draft of the change to be in compliance with the TARO Act. Does anyone have any questions, or?
I do. What takes y'all so long to hire someone? By the time you all get somebody hired, they've either starved to death or went on to another job. I'm serious, folks.
One of the things that we've been looking at is to figure out how to get someone on faster and at the same time comply with all the requirements of some of the jobs that require tribal statutes that we have to comply with, as well as some of the federal requirements. So basically, we have started breaking down each step and seeing, okay, where can we take some time off here? Where can we take some time off here? And just looking at them and see a fresh approach on how to get the people into the job as quickly as possible, but at the same time meet all our requirements, both tribal and federal.
You think I'm doping, Nathan, and it's changed. I admit the whole atmosphere, I've had several people say since you've been over there, it's changed. But I've also been told y'all's the most unfriendly bunch in the whole nation. That it's almost a barrier, y'all are putting up barriers to even get a job. I mean, I've had some really
I think we're
negative-
friendly, and I always try to be friendly, and I know the staff does. And what we do is we work with departments and to find out, actually, we don't really try to fix the blame. You find one and say, okay, I have a job that's been taking this long. We go look and say, okay, it's taken this many days. Here's how we can figure out, is this just a one-time thing, or is this a change we need to make an entire way we do things?
A lot of times I'll call different departments when I have complaints, and I won't tell them who I am. I'll make up a name and call over there, just to see how y'all treat the average Joe. Not being Joe D.
I recognize your voice, so I will probably know it's you.
Oh, I never asked for you, Nathan. Thank you.
But yes, we're working on it just because the goal is to get people in a job as quickly as
I would
possible.
like to see a breakdown from y'all on how long it takes from when you all advertise for a job till you sit at the panel, till you choose someone, till they actually get hired on. I want to see how long it takes you all to do that.
On the breakdown.
Okay, thank you.
And I may add a couple steps for the process, you know, on the beginning and the ending, because we're already starting to break them down to each step, and those are included. So I
I
may,
want to see the time length it takes to get somebody hired.
yes.
Okay. Counselor Lay?
Mr. Chairman, and that would be my question. Do you know at this time approximately how long it takes from start to finish to get someone on with the Cherokee Nation, on the tribe side?
I may put Brenda on the spot, but let me preface it first with, it depends on the category of employee. We have one designation called a youth sensitive, which requires a more thorough background check, takes more time, takes more steps. And if that's not something we can give you today, we can give you a rough estimate when we come back next time. Off the top here. Do you have a certain department you want to start with, or an area that you want to?
Here, I guess this is the point that a frustrating issue for, our citizens is that when they apply for a job, it takes so long. and just like she said, by the time you guys make up your mind who's getting the job, they've moved on to another job and/or just written us off as an employer. And so if you don't know how long it takes to get somebody on, just right now at this moment in an average job, I think that's very telling that your internal situation is probably not where it needs to be.
I know that on the one part, when you say you all, it's our department in conjunction with the other departments. What we're trying to do is make it easier and lessen the steps to getting them on board. But on the average, I do know how much we process through the day, because I watch it and I see it each day. The employees at HR process a lot of paper. They get a lot of stuff done. And, before I went over there, I had no idea all the different things that the HR department has to keep track of and to process to make this nation run. I had had some experience through dealing with the administration part on cases with the AG's office, but once I got over there, it's amazing to see how much paper and how many people they help and how many people come in and all the programs that we actually do provide. And what I intend to do throughout the time when I start coming for reporting is I was teasing some of the staff that I may bring a different person each month to let you get know HR. And see the actual individual employees who are dedicated, knowledgeable about their field, and in my experience, quite helpful. And so basically, throughout the next few months, I'm going to show you what we do. And at the same time, we're going to figure out a way to get someone on board faster and still follow all the regulations and the laws that, a lot of which we have no control over. But yes, more to come.
Okay. Councilor Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know that you're just stepping in new to this position and that you do have a diverse group of folks, I mean, that cover a lot of detailed items, so thank you. And I like the idea that you're looking to see to expedite that process. I know some of the feedback that I've got is that HR shouldn't need a filter for the panel. I struggle with that because I know what they're supposed to do.
And we have heard that too, and we're actually looking at that to see how we can coordinate with the departments, because it's a combination of the department knows their area, it's their specialization, so incorporating their input into the process is very important because they get the panel, they know what they're looking for, and they know the requirements of the job as well. But as for the actual job descriptions and the requirements of the job and everything else, those are also done through HR. So coordination between the department and HR is very important.
So the feedback that I've gotten, whether it's legitimate or not, I do not know because I'm not there, is that it takes too long for the panel to be picked, for the manager to get it, and then that it's been filtered incorrectly because of lack of input or knowledge of the job. Whether that's correct or not, I do not know. This is just the feedback, since it sounds like you're seeking it and we're going that way, is that's why, so the people that they really need don't get on it. And so then we have multiple panels, which adds to that timeline. Is this what you guys are hearing too? And so that we keep going back to the panels. So maybe it's time for those managers to have more ownership of that process and they just get all the resumes to go through. I don't know what needs to be done, but that would be one of my responses potentially, is that they do need to take more ownership inside the process very early on. That's a clear message that I hear.
And there is a way they can, and it may be along the lines of more of an education on which part of the process, if you know exactly what you want, requirements and everything else, that's coordinated through the job description, which controls the posting. So we'll work with them.
From potential employees' perspective, I do get constant, which is always a struggle, I'm sure, on how those job descriptions are written. So, yeah, any training on that would probably be greatly appreciated. I have a couple more questions off that topic. So how much is with the executive order on the minimum wage, how is that going to impact our salary, our bottom line? And then how's that going to impact people that were already making that have been here for a while? Suddenly we're putting entry-level folks, I assume they're entry-level if they're at that minimum wage, potentially. We're bumping people together when we look at salary ranges. Are we going to do any salary reviews anytime soon to kind of try to readjust everyone? Where's that at? What's that impact going to be?
We're looking at the executive order and getting feedback at the moment on that. And I anticipate discussions with the treasurer's office and after we've had a chance to review it and see about applying it.
Because last time I checked the Constitution, we got to pass the laws and the budget, so I was a little bit concerned about how this was actually going to be implemented across it. And the news said 400 people at $1,000 each. $400,000 is a lot to make up in like, I'm not sure how they'd make it up. So you'll be giving us a report on that, I guess? Or,
I will coordinate with the other departments, and I'm sure that we'll be giving you a report.
okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you,
Good?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, speaker?
I would like to ask that the Human Resource Department return on a monthly basis and become a part of this,
Finance Committee?
you know, the finance. It'd be, I think it'd be more appropriate to be in rules,
Let's keep it in rules.
but, okay.
Rules?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to ask that they return on a monthly basis and be added at the end of our report giving period.
The Gaming Commission?
Yes. And for next month, Mr. Morton, I would like to ask that you begin giving us a report on basically, well, let's start with this. Let's start with length of time to fill individual positions. Let's go back to last year. Let's have you make us a report where last year, how many positions did we fill last year? When was the process started by the department handing you all the job to advertise?
The day they say we need this position.
Yes, and how long did it take to fill that position before that person was sitting in a chair here at Cherokee Nation? And I don't want it by average, I want it by job. So if you had 100 jobs, open the file up, look when the advertisement came to you, and look when the person's first day of work was.
Orientation day.
Okay? I think at the hospital, they call that toe in, toe out. So that's what I want. I want to know the actual period of time. I would like to see, as I believe Councilor Fishenhall requested, a breakdown of a step-by-step process in the hiring part. When that notice comes to you, tell us what the process is from there to the point where that person's body is sitting in our chair as a new hiring, the first day. I would like to know what laws that this council has passed that you believe is hindering or slowing up the process to hire someone. Because if we pass something that's causing this process to slow up, maybe we want to review it. We want to clean our own house. And then I want to know what policies you operate under. Because I want to see if your policies are slowing the process up. When I see other large companies able to hire people in a week, and it takes us 3 or 4 or 5 months, or sometimes 9 months, something's wrong. And we all need to work together to try to fix it. It may be a combination of something we've done, something admin's done, something you all may have done inadvertently in a set of policies that you're now hesitant to change. We always need to be open to change.
And we're in the process of looking at all of the policies.
I think if you'll go back a year for the past fiscal year and tell us how many people we hired, start with that, give us a timeline of how long those hirings took place, give us the laws that we pass that you all believe may be slowing this process up, and give us your policies so we can look at them to determine where we think those are slowing your process up. That's a good starting point, along with a step-by-step process.
Sure. Mr. Attorney General?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is a very timely discussion. I will state that Mr. Morton, HR, and the Attorney General's office, and other Assistant Attorney Generals have been working on this issue, because it is something that we need to streamline, we need to make better. Maybe it's where we take, 3 inches of policies, maybe 1 inch of policy. But also, with the caveat in mind is that, we're not a business, we're a government. But, and there are certain things that we do have to comply with. But I think everybody's of the same accord that we want to make this as an efficient process as possible, where people, as Councilor Fisher-Hogg said, can apply for a job and reasonably expect to know one way or the other that they got the job in a reasonable amount of time. And, and maybe we can call out, as we would say in Southern Indiana County, those jobs that are youth sensitive or require special background or training that maybe need their own particular category. But the idea, we're all moving in the same direction, is to streamline the process, eliminate the red tape, and make the Cherokee Nation more quick, agile, and responsive to not only its citizens that they hire, but the citizens that they serve.
And certainly, if we have passed something that is causing a problem bigger than what we intended, we want to review it. We want to know about it. We won't know about it unless you tell us about it, because you all are the ones having to use that law.
Yes.
But by the same token, we need to look at your policies to see if what maybe you've done maybe is slowing things up, and maybe there needs to be some readjustment there.
Yes. And I think we have a good portion of the policy circulating now to say, hey, this is something that maybe we need to change. This is something that may need to, or some other law has changed this one, so that we need to change it to comply with the law.
Why don't you share, Mr. Morton, all those policies with us by giving them to Gail Miller, who will then make sure that everyone on the council has a set of them, and we can all look at them over the next month and be informed and ready for your next report. I would also join Council Lady Watts in that I have received many concerns that they want more on the panel, that they don't like the panel being filtered, I think was the word used. They don't like it being filtered at your stage. They believe that that is within the purview of that department to do that filtering. And it may be, that change may be taken care of as little as just give them all the applications. Instead of saying, okay, we're going to give you 5, and there's 50 over there, and they have to ask for 3 panels before they find somebody that they're happy with, just give them all the applications up front, unless there's a reason. By then you've probably checked the obvious of their axe murderers or not, and maybe they don't go into the pile. But other than that, they ought to be getting everything.
And with the, and we have certain preferences. We have an internal hire preference, so if you already work here, you have a preference. There's also the Cherokee preference, and those will be noted when you get a panel. And so we're actually discussing and looking at that actual policy right now. I made margin notes on it this morning around 9 on the onboarding process, including how to send a panel, what the panel looks like, and what involvement the individual departments would have with it. The policy is too large to email, so I will bring a flash drive over with the policy.
And if it's the will of the council, I'll just have her make 17 more flash drives and send to you. Or you can pick them up on March 10th.
That'll be fine.
We probably need till March 10th
And if
to
it
get them ready for you.
if it fits on a recordable DVD, I'll just make 17 copies if it will fit on one, and that will save.
And I think everybody can slide that into their laptop on the side.
Fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Counselor Vice
That
President,
report next month will take care of my question.
Counselor Stitt. Just one, while you're looking at those policies, from an education standpoint, we need to put some type of a clause in there that would expedite the hiring of teachers. Because when they have a need for a substitute teacher up there at Sequoia, theirs is a little bit more different than the bureaucracy of the government. They actually really need to have the authority to make decisions, fairly quick. So would you look into that, Mr. Morton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good report. Yes.
What happened to the registration report on rules? Is that not going to be a monthly?
I think we just asked them to make that one report, a registration.
I didn't see anybody else have their hands raised, so I thought we were moving. And I just didn't want to get past reports without asking. And I think Councilman Keener had asked about comps being addressed too, and it hasn't been on the agenda yet.
I think we have that as a quarterly report.
Registration's going
Yes.
to be quarterly?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have a,
I didn't get an answer on that. I can explain it to you.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. That concludes our reports. Now we'll drop down to old business. Councilor Baker?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an act increasing the Cherokee Nation minimum wage. I know that the principal chief has issued an executive order to increase it from $9 to $9.50, effective with the next fiscal year on 10/1. But I would like to see it go into effect sooner, such as the $9.50 on July 1. And then my act has it go to $10.50 for next fiscal year. And then in 2015, the fiscal year 2016, go to $11.50. Because I believe that we should be paying our Cherokee Nation employees wages that it's above the poverty level. And I know when this first was, when I first brought it forward last August, at that time, the Chickasaw Nation's minimum wage was $10.74. I don't know if it's gone up since then or not, but I always think that the Cherokee Nation should be leaders in the field and that we should be leaders in the amount that we pay our employees. So with the one change in the act under the minimum wage, that it shall be effective the $9.50 July 1 rather than January 1, I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Speaker?
I think Jack just hit the nail on the head. The chief has, by executive order, raised our minimum wage to $9.50, and I applaud him for that. $9.50 is I don't know about your areas, but it's a very good wage for this area when most entities are still paying the 7.25 federal minimum wage. I think he's done an excellent job in analyzing, and their thought process is quite good on how they got to that point. To try to implement it in the middle of a fiscal year is very problematic. As all of you all know, we have very limited resources that are coming over in the form of budget carryover. This, if you implement it in July, it would consume every penny that we think is going to come over in budget carryover. And right now in our budget, well, we had $7,000, but I think they got, little Miss Cherokee got that the last time we had a budget bond. So right now, in the kitty, we have very, very little. And I guess this goes back to the old adage, someone used to tell me this the first 4 years I was on the council. Are we printing money in the back room? Is there a printing press back there that we don't know about? We are the keepers of the budget. We know where our budget is right now. Our budget is extremely tight. And although extremely tight, the chief was able to start on October 1, this extra 50 cents over and above what our minimum wage is. I applaud him for it. I think he did a very good job. I think their analysis was very solid. And because of that, I'm going to make a motion to table this indefinitely.
Motion and a second to table. All in favor, signify.
Point of information, that table was for indefinitely, correct?
Yes.
And the motion was made by Councilwoman Jordan, and the second was
Second by
by...
Fish and Hop.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That
Aye. Roll call.
Aye.
roll call, Shelley. This will be a motion to table. Yes.
Frankie Hargis. Yes. Anna Gore Jordan.
Yes.
Lee Kinger.
No.
Dick Wade.
Yes.
Curtis Snell.
Yes.
Denise Taylor. Yes. David Thornton.
Yes.
Victoria Vesquez.
Yes.
David Walkenstick.
Yes.
Eric Allen Watts.
No.
Jack Baker.
No.
Harley Buzzard. Joe Byrd.
Yes.
Juliet Coates.
No.
Jody Fisher-Hunt.
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright.
Yes.
John Garvin.
No.
We have 11 yes and 5 no.
Okay. Next item on the agenda.
Sure, I'd like to table this for 30 days. It's not ready yet.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Got a table. Motion and second to table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
30 days, is that correct? Okay, we took care of the next three items, so now we'll drop down to, this is the submission of a grant application. Frankie, our speaker. You gonna take that, Frankie? Speaker?
This is a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application for the 2014 CPAS, and then that's the Coordinated Tribal Assistance Solicitation Program. We put that in form of a motion.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. This is a resolution. Counselor Vasquez, you want to take that?
Number 5, yes, it's a resolution authorizing the Cherokee Nation to encourage the United Nations to implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. I also would like to add a little note down under be it resolved paragraph, that where it now reads authorizes the Cherokee Nation resolves that, we change that Cherokee Nation to encourage. And I make this in the form of a motion.
Shelley, have you noted the change?
Okay, after authorizes the Cherokee Nation resolves that we encourage, make the wording Cherokee Nation to encourage the United Nations.
Second that, Chair.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Counselor Watts?
Thank you. Is Councilwoman Coates, who's the co-sponsor, in agreement with that language?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Counselor Baker?
I'd offer a friendly amendment. In the heading, the second united is misspelled. It should be corrected.
Okay. You guys accept that? Okay. Okay, with the minute. Did you get that, Shelley? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
That was going to be my correction too, but I would like to add the sponsor.
Okay. Counselor Watts?
I'd like to be added as a sponsor too.
Okay. Anybody else sponsor? Raise your hand. Like everybody's on board, Shelley.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution create the Cherokee Nation Art Purchasing Committee.
I have decided to withdraw it at this time and table it, but I would like to make some comments. Going forward, there's a possibility that we might want to create a work group to look at this. Not only do I represent all my constituents in District 11, I feel like I represent all artists because I've been an artist for over 20 years. Some of you may not be aware that a lot of the artists make their living with the creation of their art, and treatment of artists is something I'm very passionate about. Without specific cases being brought up, there have been issues raised in the past, and it's my belief that the artist should be treated just a little bit higher, a little bit better than any other outside vendor. And I want to see all artists treated fairly, paid for their art in a timely manner, and always treated with respect. Thank you.
Now, speaker,
Second.
I want, clarification. Withdraw or table?
Second. Second. Point of information.
That's, so withdraw? Okay. Yes, withdraw. You're good. Okay, last, Councilor Vasquez.
All of you should have in front of you the updated version of the resolution authorizing the submission of a special grant application to the National Park Service Tribal Heritage Grant for historic preservation funding. You should also have a set of bullets that I wrote up, and I just want to make sure that I just want to bring out a couple of those before I talk more about that. It looks like this. It's a typewritten sheet. At the top it says Victoria Vasquez notes the resolution, and then there's dots. And you all should have one in front of you. I just want to make sure that you all realize that this application.
It's on your desk.
I'm sorry.
Oh, excuse me.
Shelley is a little
Okay.
bit more organized than I gave her credit for. I'm sorry, thank you. I'm looking at my pile. Okay, so it's got the little bullets on it. The main points being that the grant is for a needs assessment to survey the national living treasures to determine how mentors wish to participate in teaching and passing on our traditional arts. And then also that we hope once the surveys are done and compiled, that at a later date, and that this grant is for stipends to interviewers and interviewees who want to create, to get these surveys. I feel like that a lot of times the elders get tired of being interviewed, but if we give them an incentive to talk about this, we can come up with a serious program later. And then while serving as tribal counselor, Victoria Vasquez will not receive any financial benefit or stipends from this grant. And we have agreement from our education department, Bill Lando, and his people have agreed to oversee the administration of the grant monies coming in. And what we would like to do in the final bullet is receive recommendations from living treasures for potential students that would be serious about carrying forward the arts. And we do have one that has already begun that process. Jane Austin has a young woman that she's teaching traditional pottery making techniques with great results. Also, I thank Dr. Gloria Sly for today typing up the Tribal Heritage Grant Summary, which looks like this. And it is, it just gives a couple of paragraphs that describe what this grant is about. And I realize that this is the first time that a counselor has come up with a resolution, so I apologize for not knowing all the steps way in advance. But we also need to get this taken care of because the deadline for this particular grant is March 21st. Any questions, anything I didn't cover, Diane, that
Just so everyone will know, the funding is from the United States National Park Service. It's a tribal heritage grant under the Historic Preservation Fund. So it's very protective of our cultural and art. And I was just gonna say that it's due the 21st, so we need to be on the council meeting on the 10th. So we have the resolution to support.
That form of a motion?
I would.
Motion?
Second.
Second.
And I'd like to be added as a sponsor.
Discussion? Speaker? Who wants to be added as a sponsor? It's pretty unanimous. Looks like.
And I have a question.
Question, Counselor Watts?
Thank you. And you said, I think in the email, this is contingent upon receiving the funding. And then, do we have a commitment from education to potentially help move it forward even without the grant money, or that we would look at that, or?
I truly haven't entertained that thought. Probably been successful. I haven't talked to Bill about that. Mr. Ando, would you like to make a statement?
So the question is regarding funding without the grant?
Yes.
Is it something that we would consider maybe in next year's
Oh, yeah, I mean,
budget
we'll
if
cross
we're
that bridge when we get there, but we're going to keep our fingers crossed for this grant. It's a non-matching funds, which is fantastic for us, $40,000 grant. And that money's, spread out among the national treasurers and the participants in the program, and so it's a very worthwhile venture. If we did not get the grant, it would certainly be a setback, but if it's in the interest of the council, it's certainly in the interest of Education Services, we would look to see what we could do that would be same or similar.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll just have faith.
Thanks,
Okay.
We're optimistic.
Okay. By acclamation, all in favor?
Aye.
7. Announcements? Councilor Baker?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd like to introduce Tanya Armendariz, who's from our Valley of the Sun Cherokees in Phoenix. Who's with us today for our committee meetings.
Tanya, welcome.
Have her here and introduce yourself to her.
Any other announcements? I would just like to thank the Cherokee Nation staff for attending the community meeting in Cherokee County last week. All the different departments that were there, taking time from their busy schedule. I really want to thank you for showing up. It was a great meeting, so thank you for the staff at Cherokee Nation. And with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. The next meeting day will be Thursday, March 27th, and we're officially adjourned.